Greetings and onomatopoeia to those out there creating the new sound. I'm your host, Lynn Burg, and welcome to the Proverbs of Being. Proverbs of Being is a 52-week instructional and guided handbook as well as workout, working to inspire those to think with balance.
We like to thank you for your attendance here during week 2. So let's go ahead and just jump right on in. Week 2 proverb says, embrace change as the seasons with the proper attire, so as not to be over or underexposed to the elements. The author dictated the following. Life, much like the changing seasons, is a continuous cycle of transitions. These transitions, whether they are personal, professional, or societal, are inevitable and a part of the human experience. The statement, embrace change as the seasons with the proper attire so as not to be over or underexposed to the elements, offers a powerful metaphor that invites us to adapt wisely to these shifts in life, much like we do with changing weather conditions. The seasons are a natural reminder of the inevitability of change. Winter eventually gives way to spring, which turns to summer, and then fall. Each season brings a new set of circumstances that require a shift in mindset and behavior. Similarly, change in life demands a degree of flexibility, and our response to it is just as important as how we prepare for it. When we think about how we prepare for the changing seasons, we realize the importance of choosing the right attire. When it's winter, we wear warm clothes to protect ourselves from the cold. In the summer, we lighten our layers to ensure we don't overheat. Similarly, when life presents us with new challenges or opportunities, the attire we choose is our mindset, our attitudes, and our actions. If we're too resistant to change, we become like someone refusing to wear a jacket in the wintertime. We might try to avoid the cold, but we'll end up vulnerable, exposed, and unprepared for the challenges ahead. On the other hand, if we're too hasty in embracing change without proper reflection, it's like dressing for summer in the dead of winter. We might jump into new ventures or changes without considering the consequences, leading to potential burnout or discomfort. So how do we strike the right balance? First, we need to acknowledge the changing environment. Just as we monitor the weather to determine whether we need a coat or sunscreen, we should stay attuned to the changes happening around us. This could involve assessing shifts in our work, our personal lives, or broader societal shifts and understanding how they might impact us. Next, we need to embrace a mindset of adaptability. Life's changes may bring uncertainty, but the ability to adapt to new circumstances is a strength. Being adaptable is akin to layering your clothing. We can add a sweater under our coat for winter or wear a light jacket in the spring. We don't have to make drastic changes all at once. Sometimes it's about making smaller adjustments that allow us to stay comfortable and protected. In summary, embracing change is much like adapting to the seasons. It's about knowing when to bundle up and when to shed extra layers. By approaching change with the proper mindset and right preparation, we can navigate life shifts without being overexposed to discomfort or unprepared for the challenges ahead. At this moment, we're going to take time to hear from the congregation and how the proverb resonated with them in their life. What were they thinking? Maybe they have a story. Let's tune in.
Peace and blessings, people. This is Supreme, also known as Emilius, also known as Phil for Real. All right, now we're here to talk about the Proverbs of Being, chapter 2 in the workbook. And it is, embrace change as the seasons with the proper attire so as not to be over or underexposed to the elements. Now, what that basically means is it's basically dressing for the seasons, but not in a literal sense. You know, so if you're going out in the wintertime, you're going to want to have a coat on. You're going to want to be suited and booted for that excuse me, for that weather and what it may have to carry with it. It could be snow, could be a blizzard, who knows? It could be anything in that nature, but you should always be ready. Now, embrace your change, because change isn't always bad. You got to look on the brighter side of things. Change is definitely good for some people, but it all falls in the line of being complacent, being comfortable. So what I want you to do is, before you go into battle or before you engage into anything, get your lay of the land. Know what you need to go out there with. Don't be over or underexposed to what may happen out there in the field. And just stay positive. Learn how to adapt to positive surroundings, more or less negative. I want to touch a lot more topics on this subject, but right now, at the moment, I'm currently at work in Kansas. I'm working, I travel a lot, but I want to give a big shout out to Lynn Burg for helping me with these Proverbs of Being, because they actually help a lot in my daily life. So big shout out to him, and maybe I'll come back later and touch more on these topics here. But until then, beautiful people, have a safe and blessed day.
For me,
Keep your head up.
the proverb highlights how life is constantly shifting. And I find that embracing those changes starts with keeping a solid foundation. While Lena dives into new opportunities, I like to focus on making sure that we have the right support system in place, emotionally and practically. It's about ensuing that even when the seasons change, there's stability at home so that we can both tackle changes without feeling overwhelmed. Change doesn't always have to be about pushing forward. Sometimes it's about adapting without losing sight of what's important.
This proverb resonates with me because with the changes I've been making in my career, especially with growing Auntie Lena's Casa de Talento, I've learned that embracing change with enthusiasm and preparation is key. Each new project, collaboration, and shift in direction feels like a new season. I've learned that staying open-minded and adaptable helps me stay connected to my goals. But it also requires balance so I don't burn out. It reminds me to stay energized, but also mindful of when to step back and reevaluate.
Hello, my name is Devin Broussard. And the one thing I want to say about change, the best way of embracing change is realizing that there's always going to be change, especially coming from a man in his 40s. You get to a certain spot sometimes in your life when you're very comfortable and you don't want anything to change. You want things to stay that way, but it's not always going to work out that way. Like the people I lived with 15 years ago are not the same people I live with now. Being divorced, and the change comes in many ways. As far as just recently, me starting my new company, trying to embrace the stress that I went through starting a new company. It's been but it's good stress, and it's good strain. It's a good change. Embracing change is not always comfortable, and it's not always going to be easy at all. But things always change, like I said. So instead of like fighting the current, you got to kind of ride with the waves, and that's not always easy. And some changes can seem for the bad at first. There can be changes that make things go bad at first, but you have to learn how to make it work one way or the other. It's not always going to go your way. That's the thing about change. Change is not always going to go the way you want it. Sometimes change can be good, and you can make things change on purpose. Sometimes things change, you get changed there, something that happens that's out of your hands. And regardless of which change you're going through, either a change that you wanted, you might change jobs, and that might be something that you wanted to do, or you might get fired from a job and forced to change jobs. But regardless, you have to embrace it. You have to go with it. And that's not always comfortable, and that's not always easier. It's easier said than done, but it's the way it is. Change is going to happen regardless if you want it or not. So you can either fight the current, or you can just try to do your best to ride the waves. So that's pretty much my thought on embracing change.
So adapting to change as a trader is extremely important, for all sorts of reasons. When I first started trading, I thought that I would stick to a specific strategy, and that strategy would be all I would need. I would just master that and become the sort of trader that I always thought I would be. But that's not the case. The market's very unpredictable. Things change. What might work today may not work tomorrow. And, things just simply are constantly in flux. But what made the difference simply for me is just kind of keeping a growth mindset, right? Keeping a growth mindset, staying fluid, not focusing on being perfect, but focusing on improving, right? That's what's most important, because if you're in it for the long haul, you're focusing on improving. So adapting to change is important. And how you do it is even more important. It's not just about adjusting to a specific strategy, but more importantly, your approach to losses, your approach to wins, your approach to your daily habits. I started tracking my trades. I started studying my mistakes and, looking for different patterns that I noticed about myself versus just the market, right? Because you can see when a trade goes up and down, it happens all day. There's always a range, but, what's your range? What's your internal range? And more importantly, the market will do it for you, but if you do it, it's much better. But stay humble. Stay humble, stay humble. The market will humble you on a daily basis, but staying humble and, being coachable, being teachable is, you can't buy that. You have to have that. You have to develop that. So stay fluid, stay flexible, and understand that, it's something that you are learning and you'll always be learning. Stick with it. All right, Veggie Trades, happy trading. I'm out.
Changing with the seasons. You see, I'm bundled up, but it's deeper. When things come, spiritually changing, mind changing, situational changing things, you gotta be able to come with it. You gotta be able to roll with it. I got this song where I say, I can't remember the melody, but the lyric is, they claim they a boss, we can't handle those losses. They call themselves the boss, can't handle those losses. It's cool to look like and have all that, but the loss part is like, how do you handle that and keep maintaining and keep going? You gotta be able to change with the seasons, or that was your time. The big difference between did and do. You either did something, yeah, that's cool, or you do something, and that's what you do. And being able to do is being able to adapt, adjust, and keep moving. Shout out LeBron, you smell me? So yeah.
So, congregation, if you have yet to receive your copies of the Proverbs of Being, go ahead and log on to thenewsoundempire.com. Click under manuscripts, order now. And while you're there, become a member. Hey, the price of admission is only that you admit that you're ready to make a change towards balanced thinking, show honor and truth, and be ready to become somebody. Hey, I'm Lynn Burg, and I'll see you here next week for the Proverbs of Being.